Hello everyone, I have just put a ton of new experimental files on my Patreon relating to a personal project, so we're going to take a look at those today. But before we get into that, I just want to let you know that I'm setting up a new high quality, more personal mailing list system to keep you informed about like new product releases. If you want to sign up to that, then at the top of curtisholt.online/store, you can find a sign up form there, and then you'll need to verify it. But please only sign up if you're actually interested in my tools and resources. So let's take a look at the new experiments. Some new style tests have been added to the Patreon. These are production files, so they're under the production files section of the members lounge, which I can show you here. So if you go to curtisholt.online/members, you'll be able to find production files. This is under the Project Fold April 2026 batch. Under here, the file you're looking for is 2026-04-26 green style tests. We can see the earlier leech project as well. So what these actually are style tests and material tests and lighting tests relating to screens. So basically visual communication through transmissive screens, with a variety of preset things set up, because for the project I need various ways of communicating information like indirectly. So we can see that there's two layers of screens. If I click on the first one, which is the rough glass like one, we'll see that there's a few options in the shader editor. One is the faded lines roughness. I've misspelled that one a little bit, just fix that. So yeah, faded lines roughness gives you this screening look. And also there's a darken mix RGB here. And if we scrub that up, what it does is it keeps the lines, but it makes the glass less rough, so you can kind of improve the clarity of what's seen through the glass. So notice that I'm using the leech creature here from the other project in this production batch. If I then increase the emissive light on the back screen, you can see in the lower right I've got the 3D view here, then that'll help to show more details. It kind of just depends on how silhouetted or how much detail you want to show through this kind of visual. Really, like I said, the point of it is not to convey everything. There's also a dirt roughness preset, so this one just adds this kind of dirt imperfection pattern on the rough glass, but by default I like to keep it on the lines one. Now also there's text behind the glass as well, because that's going to be relevant for me. It's pretty much just the same as the the section with the leeches. But then we've got the skull. Now, the skull's a bit different. Stylistically, people might associate this with, I believe, a tutorial by Derek Elliott, where kind of showing a product through like a frosted glass screen, which I've seen like a million derivatives of before. For this, though, it wasn't really supposed to be coming through the screen, but by testing different, material types, especially on the object itself, it became clear in a few cases that actually having some stuff peek through the screen would be interesting, but not in every case. So I will, leave this up to you, whoever has access to it, whoever's on the Patreon. Just play with it however you like. Now, this file we're looking at on the screen is not on the production files, at least not yet, but it is associated with them. So just to give you like a mood of the kind of things that can be done with it, this is a vibe that we can go for. The back light can also be changed. So you see, like that. And also the front glass has some degree of emission as well that can be, modified. You just got to be careful with the light values and surface color as well. So if you have access to the files, have fun with that. Okay, so the next production files available on the Patreon are the 2026-05-02 screen style test and the compound integrate office file. So the screen style test is an evolution of the one already on the Patreon, this time for the glass panel, where we're testing ways of having like light diffusing through the glass pane. There are more options now. There's this hollow glass option, which is kind of like a pseudo CRT type effect, which is affecting the roughness. It's a mix of shaders. Again, color and light control are available. The backing light is hidden by default, but they can also be re-enabled and then combined with these effects. The skull object in this case does have a lined pattern applied to it to get some variability in roughness. So it's supposed to look like, in some way it is fading through the plane, but there is a harsh cutoff there. There's an ultra wide camera of it, and then we have slightly different style tests. So this one is just from a side-on perspective. There is less emission for this one, actually technically no emission, but as you can see, if you added a bit of emission, then you'll get some interesting blending occurring, and you can play around with the transmissibility and all that kind of stuff, but I've got it how I like it as it is. The text is behind the plane, but it does also have its own unique distorted lines pattern occurring on it. So as we move that back and forth, we can get it much more faded and bring it closer in so it becomes more into focus. I wouldn't push it all the way through the plane, because then you can actually see, the pattern as is, and the diffusion from the rough glass, has a big impact on it. So we can bring things into focus, and then we get the pattern. You can have a look in the materials. So this is for the text, and you'll see I'm using node groups from my procedural patterns pack. So you won't need that pack if you have access to the $5 Patreon tier, because those node groups will be included here. You'll see here that it's making use of a modified version of the CRT material, which comes from the free community material pack. I've made some slight changes to this to change the outputs to give me like more values to control creatively. So the office scene on the Patreon is interesting because it's largely a blockout. For the project, this is being made for, I'm categorizing the types of artwork being made into like overground and underground areas. And overground areas are like the more realistic and, brighter lived in spaces. So you'll get access to this, which is based on skylighting. So you can see there, like the light between the building, of which rotation is possible as well. The light comes in, shadows are applied, shadows can bounce off of objects. There are different types of emissive light sources within the building. So you can see I can turn that off, plug that back in, and there are some like hidden light sources as well, which can be discovered. Camera positions are pre-set up. Here is just a test of bringing in like scanned paper from real life and then doing like frayed edges. So you can have a little look at that to see how that was done. But otherwise, this one is just like a work in progress more than anything else. So while the first set of files, like these stylistic production ones, are I think maybe a bit more applicable to like, random fun artwork people might make, the more architectural based ones like this are quite specific. And I think maybe just more curious for people that might want to see how I'm building things, prior to any renders being done. Although there is a bit of a secret with this file because some material work that's unreleased has been included in this file and is carried in on these material preview spheres. Okay, I've just added one more file onto the May 2026 badge, and I think this might be the most popular one so far, because this is the one that's going to be like the most comprehensive. So continuing on with the whole like screen style test stuff, what we're looking at here is my attempt at doing a digital type screen in the fictional story that I'm working on for this project. So it has to be something familiar, but also different because it's kind of alternate universe. What I've settled on is going for the CRT-like inspired roughness pattern on the glass with some minor adjustments. The font here is a Courier Prime one from Google Fonts, I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check that. Yeah, Courier Prime regular. The material for the text is similar to the previous text work. If you look very carefully, you can see a faint outline for the ultra-wide boundary, but here's a really interesting thing. With this setup, I can have it so it's pseudo 3D, 2D. So things like images and text can just manifest out of the blur. The 3D objects can be represented in a very high contrast way. One little trick I'm doing is to have positive and negative lighting. So what I specifically mean by that is the skull has a negative area light. You see minus 500 on the power below it to suck out some of the lighting from the underside. So as the samples update, you can see it kind of digging away. It gives it an extremely high contrast look. You'll notice that as I'm moving it around in the viewport, the negative light has not had a chance to reduce that yet. So you can see it happen over time. But as you can tell from looking at it, you get a really unique moody effect with that. Similarly, low to the text, you can have the 3D objects manifest out of the depth. I can imagine very like horror-like elements about doing that. In the collection assets, tests have been set to be enabled and disabled. So if I disable the identity text here and enable image elements for social, you will see an image that I did a little social media post with. Let me hide the 3D elements like the skull. And I've set up a camera preset here to look at this. True value is human experience, so it would seem. So this is my stylistic attempt at doing a digital image for this universe, if you will, but it's a little bit faked because you can do a halftone effect in shader. I did it in Affinity, and I like this effect because the circular pattern sort of mimics the roughness pattern. And then with a little bit of vignetting, we can get it looking like it's slightly faded a bit more around the edge, although more could be done there, including incorporating alpha to blend it out properly. But again, this is a style test, and I quite like the visual of it. On the cameras, at the top, you'll see screen close 1. If we look in here, it's just a close-up of text objects when we enable them. Specifically, these were positioned around text in a private version of the file where I'm actually doing some of the narrative work. Screen close 2. This one lets me see the specularity of the light from above behind. And the more important one is screen front. This is the one that's calibrated for the ultra-wide aspect ratio to show the entire screen. There is also a hack elements one. So this is testing an image emission texture. This is from Afterglow, this one, because we've got different light shapes and a more cryptic type font, which is relevant to the story. Although I would not read into this too much. There are some people that will know what that is. This is just placeholder text during style tests. I've got another one here as well. Again, for things like covers, openings, informative stuff, just seeing how basic text would look on this screen type. And something else I want to explore is now UI elements, iconography, things pointing to other things, etc. So yeah, this file is available on the Patreon. I'll just make that clear as well. This is the production files May 2026. And if we scroll down, it's 2026-0502 screen style test free. And you can see that attached there, ready to download. So if you sign up as a $5 silver tier or above, you'll get access to all of these files. And by increasing the Patreon amount, you will all collectively be increasing the number of hours I spend working on free projects for the community every month, or for paying off the overtime for free project updates that are waiting to release. So thanks for watching, everyone. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.